Hello, my name is Adrian, and I want to thank you for joining the Helper Office Hour today, October 4th. I am joined by Claire, our UX designer here at Dolly.
Hello.
And if you're watching this recorded, I want to say thank you for watching this. We go live every week at 3 p.m. Pacific time and 6 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And you can watch the full thing recorded after we've completed it after 4 p.m. And yeah, so we're going to be jumping in. We have some questions that were asked. Whenever I have a guest on, we try to get some questions for them, and we'll go through those. And if you have any other questions during the chat, you can text this number, or you could write it in the chat here on YouTube, and we'll be talking about that. And yeah, let's get to it. So you want to go ahead and start, or you want to go ahead and talk about what you do here?
Sure, yeah. So I've been the UX designer, and UX stands for user experience. So I've been here for a year working as a UX designer, and before that I was actually working on the support team, which was very fun. But it's a great challenge. I like to test and work on new features that we put into the Helper app, into the customer app. And I also, look to make our current features much better. So I take feedback from everyone. I speak to customers. I speak to helpers. We test things online, all of that sort of business. And yeah.
Yeah, cool. You want to go ahead and start with the first question that you got?
Okay, the first question that came through was, why doesn't the app show correct tracking information for helpers and hands? So I wasn't quite sure about what this question meant, but what I thought it meant, or could have potentially meant, is after when the dolly is complete, the message not actually showing up right away, usually because we're waiting for the customer to tip. Mm-hmm. Or it could be something to do with the maps or the stats section in the Helper app. So if that person is online watching this, it would be great if they could let us know for sure what the question meant, and I could definitely look into answering that better.
Yeah. And just once again, if there's anything, if you have any questions, feel free to post it in the chat. You might have to be logged into a YouTube account, but it'll show up in the chat, or you could text the number and I will get them to my phone here. So yeah. And if there's no other questions or that come through the chat, we'll just get through the questions that have come through via email, and then we'll open it up. So we'll continue to go through these questions.
Okay. The other one was quite a long question. There was a lot to it. They're saying that in the Helper app, that communication can sometimes be delayed between helpers and customers. So regarding that, I would need more details to know what specifically was happening. But it could be anything to do with, it could be the connection speed, like how it could even be down to the customer not seeing the message right away and getting back to the helper. Yeah. So again, I'd need more information to be able to answer that. And then the next part of that question was, I cannot change my password and login. So you can do that in the Helper app.
I can actually bring it up.
Yeah, you can go to the edit profile section.
Okay, so so in the more section, it might look a little bit different on Android. Let me lower my brightness. It might look a little different on Android, but if you want to change your password, there's this button up here called View Profile. So right here underneath your name, View Profile, it'll bring you to your profile page, and there's an edit button up here, top right corner. Mm-hmm. Tap edit.
I believe in Android it's like 3 dots or something, and then when it brings a drop down, and then you can edit profile.
And then you can change your password right there.
Yeah. So
make sure and hit save.
Oh yeah, that's important.
Make sure and hit save.
I can carry on with the rest of this question, or should we look at one of these questions?
You can keep going with this one.
So the next part was, there was some feedback around pricing and how it's a race to get jobs. So we are constantly doing lots of testing with our pricing. Obviously, it's a balance. We do have like a whole team dedicated to helping with the pricing. and they do tests all the time. Obviously, you know, we don't want to make it too expensive for customers, otherwise we wouldn't get anyone booking.
Right.
But we don't want to make it too low that it doesn't make sense for helpers as well. So we're always testing, we're always trying to find that right balance and that sweet spot for everyone. So it's good feedback, but know that we're working on it and we've got our eyes on it. What's next in that question? I've lost my place. Oh, there was some information about feeling like my information was compromised. So I just want to reassure you that we do not give out anyone's phone numbers. That goes for giving out your number to a customer or giving out your number if you're a helper to a hands or hands to a helper. We mask all of the numbers through the app, so they would only see a fake number. If you were communicating with them that way, there would be no way, and I actually checked this before this session just to be 100%, but there's no way that they would be able to get that information.
Yeah, so it would look like a normal call coming into your phone, but it's actually like when they're dialing the number or pressing it from the helper app,
right,
it's showing a different number. It's not showing their actual number.
Exactly. It's a fake number. Yeah. And what's the sorry, I'm trying to find the next part of the question. So there was some more feedback around customers giving the right information and feeling a bit cheated by the customer. So we give customers the access to input as much or as little information as they want. Obviously, we want them to put in as much as we can. We really, like, I know the support team from working there myself, that we call them up if there's not a photo or enough information to know for sure the scope of a job. But, you know, we can't always monitor that. We can't make it necessarily a requirement, because then again, we might run into the issue of them not booking with us at all. Right. Although we do test with things like that. But yeah, it's something that we obviously want to encourage customers to do. But there's no way that we can always force customers to put in everything, which we would love, but it's not how it's built out right now.
Right.
But we have built tools that make it easier for helpers to add information that's missing. So recently we worked on the helper adjustment menu to try and make that an easier experience for when you do arrive and not everything's correct, and you can add that and you make sure you're compensated for the work that you do. Yeah. So we do bear that in mind as well. And the last part on there was mentioned about the shifts and clicking on that link.
Oh, right.
I'm not sure if we put a pause on the shifts.
Yeah, we have put a pause on shifts, but there was a notification in the app that it would link out to a form that you can fill out if you were interested in shifts. So when we do bring it back, we'll notify you about shifts in your area, and we can reach out and see if you're interested. But right now, as you may know, we're not doing shifts for the foreseeable future. More information about that coming soon.
But we're always running experiments. So as soon as we run anything new, you'll be the first people to know.
Yeah. All right, we have some questions coming in. Okay. We can go ahead and get to those. Okay. Did want to show this right there.
So Robert's question.
Well, he's saying that real numbers come up from helpers to hands.
If that's the case, Robert, please send us some examples, because we take that very seriously. So I will pass that on to our app developers, and they can definitely follow up on that. But when we did a test this morning, it just came up with the mask numbers. So if that isn't true, please just send that information into us and we can look into it straight away.
Yeah. And then so Izzy and DSDS are talking about, do we love to advertise on their vehicle? Is it possible? Yeah, so I would say that we have, if you go to swag.dolly.com, we have, I'll type it in the chat. It's a website where we feature all of our shirts as well as hats, and there's also magnets on there and truck pads. So we don't have like full truck wrapping, but we do have magnets and truck pads. So if you're interested, you can go ahead and buy those and we'll ship them out to you. CLU engineer, how can we increase the number of dollies in Boulder, Colorado? It's very slow. Yeah, so we've been hearing that a lot from other helpers in all of our markets. We're kind of outside of the moving season now. We're into October now. Moving season's kind of like from late April to sometime in September. Yeah, okay. So the number of dollies are going to come down, but we're always working with our partners and through different advertising channels to bring up the amount of dollies available in your area. So what I would say for you, CLU engineer, is just kind of, word of mouth, share what dolly is with people around you. Let them know that they can go to a store, and if they want to buy a couch at a store, dolly will help them bring it home. Just kind of, share the word of what dolly is.
Yeah, and another tip as well, if you're out there looking for jobs, you're not seeing anything, you can always contact the support team and let them know where you are, and they can look to see if there is anything in the area, or if there's an issue with the app. So please, reach out to us if you're not seeing so much, and we can look into it.
Robert's saying, I'm pretty sure he's talking about vehicle wrapping for compensation moving advertising. I could be wrong.
It's a good marketing question.
Yeah. I'm not too sure about that.
Yeah, we could definitely pass that on to the marketing team and see if they could get an answer to that.
So we got one from SK. Is there a way to get the app to only suggest jobs only within certain miles? So in the Dolly Helper app, we have in the More section as well. Might look a little bit different on Android, but on this page, there is a button or a menu that you can go to called Notification Settings, and you could change your notifications here. But one of the things that you can do in here is the distance. So you can say within. Right now, I have mine set 5 miles of a zip code. You can go in and adjust that between 5 and 50 right here. So when you change that, you would get notified of jobs that are within 50 miles of you. Of course, the job's B location may be outside of the 50 miles, so you want to be aware of that when you're going to go look at available dollies. Take a look at the dolly map and make sure that it's not with that, or it doesn't go past your own radius. And if you see jobs that are outside of what you're comfortable with, you don't have to take it. But that's one thing you can do. A moving vehicle rather than a public billboard. So we would pay to advertise. Didn't understand clearly. Yeah, I'm sorry, Izzy. If you can email us at helpers@dolly.com, like what you're asking about, maybe we can talk about it. I'm having trouble understanding the question as well.
Okay.
I'm going to read that Dave one.
Yeah, so Dave says, suggestion, on a 2-person dolly, if the helper, who is not the lead, is trying to communicate with the customer, which I now know isn't possible, it looks like it's loading.
Oh.
Maybe change that. So
I think he might be saying in the helper app, it looks like it might be like if you press a button to try to communicate with the customer, it looks like it's loading to the message screen.
Oh, okay.
But they're not able to do that. So
okay. What I would suggest, Dave, is to send us, like, if you can, some kind of screenshot, or like if you let us know what kind of phone you have, if you're Android or iOS, I can pass it on to the app team to definitely look into that. I know that there were quite a few bugs with the messaging part of the app that we worked on quite recently. So if there still are some things that are a little bit buggy, we can look at fixing them for you.
Mm-hmm.
And same goes for any like bugs or technical issues you're experiencing with your apps. We have an app team here that want to try and make it the best that it can be. So let us know and send in it, the specific issue with screenshots if you can, so we can look into it.
Yeah. Izzy, do I pay to advertise or you? I'm sorry. I'm having trouble trying to figure out what you're getting at. But we don't. Dolly doesn't do any wrapping to advertise on trucks right now. If that's what you're asking.
Might be a good idea to get someone from the marketing team
next
time.
Yeah.
Be able to answer that.
Have you made any headway towards having 2 trucks registered? I own 2. So we did look into that. Is there anything that you can share with that? Like, because I know there are a number of helpers who do have 2 vehicles.
Yeah, we're looking at like ways for helpers to present that.
Right.
I know we're working on a feature coming soon, which is going to be kind of helper dashboard screen, which you'll be able to, or should be able to list if you have multiple vehicles. Right. So it's definitely something we're looking at. There's nothing there currently, but it's really good feedback for us, because we know you're not the only one that has more than 1 vehicle.
Right.
So it's a good piece of feedback.
Okay, we have some questions coming in via text. Hi, I constantly get a message that there are new routes available. I immediately check the app and it has no new routes. Thanks. So I think this has happened before with other helpers. Once the routes get posted, they'll be available in the app to request. And if we get, the 1 or 2 helpers needed for the route, then it's going to get scheduled. So you'll still get a notification that routes are available, but there's a chance within those few minutes that you get notified that other helpers have gone and have gotten scheduled to those routes. If that's not the case, always message into the support team and they could take a look at it and see if there's like rogue notifications going out, or see what we can do to stop that from happening. But usually the case is that routes are available, but they get taken up really quickly.
Yeah. And we are working on ways of improving that as well with our routes.
I'll read this one.
Okay. The next one, it says, it would be nice to check my schedule when a dolly pops up before turning it down or requesting it.
Oh, P.S. Great job to all.
Oh, thank you. So yeah, that's a really interesting piece of feedback. So you want the ability to be able to check their schedule before the dolly pops up or before turning it down.
Yeah. So like if when the request comes in, like maybe say like, hey, you have a job 2 hours before this one in this area.
Okay, so it shows like this kind of schedule conflicts going on.
I guess, yeah.
That's a cool little idea. I like that a lot. All right, I'll note that down. Thanks. Whoever that was.
Whoever that was. I don't know. Numbers don't show up here. This one's a very long one.
It says greetings.
It does say greetings, Claire.
At the beginning.
We can get to this one if you want. I can't remember who this is, but they write a lot. So it's like, here's a topic for you, of course, a question. Refrigerator. Here we go. This is definitely towards you.
So it says, Claire, I know that you're having the experience of being out in the field some time ago. May agree that a refrigerator can become very troublesome and hectic to move. Yes, I agree. Because oftentimes the purchaser or the homeowner, in this case, never properly measures. Comments I've heard oftentimes are that it seems smaller in the store. Of course it does. Much like the option to add photos to the expense of tables that we move, sometimes the customers buy insurance for. Is that option available, or have you thought about that option to have a cost incurred for the refrigerators? So is that insurance?
Maybe.
For the...
Much like the option to add photos to the expense of tables that we move. Sometimes the customer...
I'll read on and see if we can decipher.
Okay.
Such as adding a tab with an additional cost to the customer, as they will incur should we remove the doors to get the refrigerator inside of the house. So, okay, so this is like additional charges for the difficulty of moving a refrigerator. So somebody that has never taken a refrigerator out will have to sit there and wonder how to remove the doors and how to put them back together. And before you know it, no matter how good or how bad you are, you're an hour and a half, 2 hours additionally, simply because now we have to put the doors back, make sure it works properly. Yeah, refrigerators are definitely a very tricky dolly. I would definitely agree with whoever sent this in about
Yeah.
that part. I know, correct me if I'm wrong, Adrian, but wasn't there talks about putting some kind of like video together about like how to like work with things like refrigerators?
Yeah.
Was that an idea that was thrown around?
It was thrown around. Yeah, it didn't come to fruition, but we definitely want to put together like a how-to best practices video for some of those hard to move items.
Regarding the extra costs, I think we do like think about that. I'm not sure about the taking the doors off and putting them back on again part of it, but I know we do take the difficulty or the size of the item into account when we're looking at pricing. But when it comes to the removing of the doors and things like that, that's definitely something that is great feedback for us. And, we'll look into a bit more because I know they can be very tricky. And I know that some customers want refrigerators to be put up in the truck rather than laid flat because they're worried it's going to break the refrigerator. So there's lots to think about with refrigerators, that's for sure. So very good feedback.
Yeah. Let's see. Does a pricing structure take into account traffic when driving is included? Not too many helpers would be eager to drive 5 miles across DC at 4 to 5 o'clock on a weekday for $30 to $35.
Mm.
So, what I would say is that, right now that traffic is not included in the pricing of a dolly, like the payout. Mileage is. We're, as always, we're looking into how traffic could be factored into pricing on the dolly. I don't have any information about that now, but I know our pricing team's always looking into that. And if something does come to fruition, more information will be shared with all of our helpers.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand, in all of our markets, we have all of our markets are big cities, and there's a lot of traffic in each of them.
Yeah.
So
there's been similar feedback around like parking and around like tolls and things like that. So it's definitely on our radar to look into that.
So let's go ahead and go through these.
Okay.
Joel, can we get a box of business cards? Many customers ask for one to give to a friend or a family member. Hey, Joel. Look, Joel also said, hey, great to see you, Claire.
Oh, hi, Joel.
Thanks for all your help when I first started. As frustrating as it may be to that support, Claire always had a happy personality.
Oh, that's very nice. Thank you very much.
Hey, Joel, are you asking about like a box of business cards about like Dolly, or more tailored to like Joel the helper? Let me know if you can provide some more information about that.
I know the marketing team have like the printable cards, so that might be something that we could bug them about.
Yeah. Andrew, who's asking, is there a way / future plans to allow a helper to change their preferences? I am currently shown jobs mainly in South Denver area, but I am moving soon and would like the jobs to reflect that. Yeah. So Andrew, I went over this briefly, but in the more section of your app, in notification settings, there's a distance with the zip code there. That's kind of like your home zip code. So you could change the distance from 50 miles down to 5. But if you change that zip code, that will change your home area. So if your new home's going to be inside the service area, you can go ahead and provide that zip code right there, and it'll update your preferences. Robert's saying,
you guys did do fires at one point with personalized code.
Interesting. I wasn't here for that.
No.
Maybe we can take a look into that. Thanks, Robert. And great, Andrew. Yeah, thank you. And Andrew, if you have any questions, feel free to reach out to us. We'll be happy to help you out as well. So here's another one. Oftentimes, as a helper attempting to get the labor jobs completed, our labor within the time frame allotted, if not sooner, but as we don't want to be there for 4 hours doing the same job, I have noticed a tremendous amount of distraction with alerts coming through for the hands and helpers from Dolly for additional jobs that may be available in the area. Is there a way to hold off on alerts while Dolly is in progress? So in other words,
Like a pause button.
suppress the Dolly alerts for job availability to avoid those distractions from coming through.
That's really good feedback again. Thank you. At the moment, there is not a way to do that, purely because I'm guessing the majority of those alerts are coming from the support team for fulfillment jobs, like trying to get jobs filled very quickly.
Yeah.
So it's what we want to obviously fill every job that we can possibly fill. So we consider those sorts of jobs quite urgent to get filled.
Right.
So that's why it kind of overrides and sends through to you. But it's great feedback and it's definitely feedback that we've heard before.
Yeah.
A way of like pausing notifications. And I know that one of the things that we'll be looking to work on very soon is the notifications and making that work in a way that is good for helpers and makes sense.
Yeah.
So, well, good feedback again.
Yeah. The other thing is Robert's mentioning keep your phone in your truck.
Oh, that's a good one.
So that's a good one. The other thing is like it's tough. I understand that a lot of notifications come through, but sometimes we hear from customers that this helper was on their phone the entire time. I would say it's best to try to ignore the outside distractions or put your phone on do not disturb, so at least you see that there's notifications coming through, that there are available jobs later in the day or in the next couple of days. So you're still getting those. So that's another thing that you could look into, that do not disturb feature, as most phones kind of have that now.
And Joel says just the Dolly cards.
Just Dolly cards.
So not something personalized.
Yeah, I think we should have some. Well, not our team, but the marketing team should have some. We'll reach out to them and see what we can do, Joel. So yeah, someone's saying definitely would not want to suppress those alerts while on a job.
Yeah.
If a helper dedicates on a day to hustling, they want to get all the Dolly request alerts they can.
Yeah.
If they bother some helpers that much, just turn off your phone. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's definitely a variance in like what people want, what helpers want when it comes to like some don't want the distractions because they want to get on with what the job that they have in hand, and there's others that want things like to see everything that comes through because they don't want to miss that great opportunity. So it's kind of trying to find that balance. That's what we're trying to do with the notification settings. So it's interesting to see two different opinions there.
Yeah. And the original commenter understood what the customer is paying for a specific amount of time and they were distracted watching the phone, looking at alerts, then we're not really giving them that value that they're paying for.
Yeah.
And in return, it's taking us longer to complete the job. Yeah.
Yeah. Both very valid opinions. I mean, like, you want to do your best either way and you don't want to miss out on jobs. So I can see both sides to that for sure.
All right. So
you got any more?
Let's see. Okay. Joel pick up a few at Big Lots, but they have Big Lots pricing on them. Yeah. We'll take a look, Joel. See what we can find for you. Were there any other?
Yeah, we have a few on here. I think we may have answered some, but there was one that said, why do customers who choose curbside have an option to enter stairs or elevators? There should be a notice saying curbside is just that, which it's great feedback. I'm not sure what the answer is, but definitely something I'll look into. Perhaps it was to allow the customers still to give us this info for people that want all the information. I don't think it affects the overall price. I might be wrong there, but I don't think it does. But I will definitely look into that because it makes sense. Like this curbside, you would think it wouldn't have stairs involved. Yeah. The next one. Oh, did we get something in?
We're getting a couple, yeah.
Okay, want to do one of those?
Yeah. So if a job turns into a bigger debacle than expected, i.e. doors off hinges to fit a fridge due to customer error, can we contact support and get a price adjustment? Unexpected doors off hinges.
If the customer's asking you to do something that you don't feel comfortable doing, or it's like outside of the scope of what you think should be done, that might cause damage to the item or might really not set a good expectation with the customer, I wouldn't do it. For one, I'd probably contact support first and get their advice, because we really don't want any damage or anything to happen. So that's the first thing I would do. If the customer's like adamant that they want you to do the dolly, then you can ask them to potentially send a message saying I'm fine with them doing it regardless of what happens. But if it's something that looks like it's not going to happen, then don't do it. So that's number one. Extra money for doing that I don't think it's considered something that we give extra money for, but it's definitely a conversation to have with the support team to see. It's very specific on the circumstance.
I would recommend always reaching out to support if you have questions about, especially when you're on a dolly. They're available via phone 7 days a week, so they're always here to help you out.
They're all very nice.
Yeah, I can. I'll
can you see them this time?
Let's see. They're watching us on the screen, so they might turn around. There you go. They're a sport team. All right. So here's a couple questions. My question is about couches. I am curious because I get paid to move one couch, and I get paid more to move the love seat and couch. But when I move a 2-piece sectional, I get paid for one couch. When I move a 3-piece sectional, I get paid for one couch. When I get a 5-piece sectional, I get paid for one couch. When in reality, I'm moving 2 or 3 couches, which takes more time loading and unloading and walking down long hallways and flights of stairs. That also takes up more space in my truck and trailer. Is there a certain reason for this?
Well, the pricing would change depending on what type of couch it is, I'm assuming. So that should be reflected in the price. What I would say is if your vehicle or is something that you don't want to do, you don't have to take it. You can take the smaller couches if you want to, or the love seats. So it's entirely up to you if you want to take the bigger items or not.
I'm wondering if he's talking about, or he or she, if he's talking about like they get to it, they see it's like the dolly is just like a couch, 7 foot or something, right? And they get to the dolly and they see that it's a 5-piece sectional. Like it's just listed incorrectly.
Perhaps, maybe the customer, because obviously the customer inputs the item. So maybe in this case they're making a mistake with with listing it correctly.
If that happens, if you get to a dolly and it's listed incorrectly, reach out to support, and so we can try to get it handled and listed correctly, so you can get compensated for that. Because if the dolly is listed as a couch, but it's a 5-piece sectional, that's definitely more work for you. It takes up more space in your vehicle. We want to make sure you get compensated for that. Yeah,
that would make sense.
Oh, here we go. I have been unable to get this notification off my phone. I've sent it into dolly support a few times. I think he's talking about this.
Yeah. So.
I'll show it. So he's asking about this notification down here at the bottom.
And who was it that sent it in? Well, we don't know.
I don't know who it is. But
to be honest with whoever sent that in, it bugs me too. It's something that the product team are well aware of and looking to fix. It's a known bug. And yeah, I know I'm the same way on my phone. Those things drive me crazy. So I would want to get rid of it too.
Yeah.
But well-known bug. So hopefully it gets fixed soon.
All right. I think I got all the ones that are here. Yeah. Okay. So let's see. How exactly does turning on I'm available now affect a helper within hours, which they've already marked available? So right now, the I'm available now button, it shows our support team that you're looking for work for however hours you've listed when you selected I'm available now. So if there's dollies that need last minute assistance or that have a short lead time, our support team will look at those dollies, and they have a list of helpers that are maybe interested in the dolly or they've looked at the dolly. And then there's going to be on the support end, there's a kind of like a green light that shows that this helper is available now. They're looking for work. They'll reach out to you and see if you're interested in the dolly, and see how we can work on that to get you scheduled to it.
Yeah, it's really helpful for you to put that on if you're available for us, because we can then know and reach out to you straight away.
Yeah.
What else we got?
Okay, Robert.
This one, yeah.
Yeah.
Is it possible to change the size of the start-stop dolly button? Is that what that means?
I think so, yeah.
So that it doesn't interfere with other functions on the phone. You're trying to change screen fumbling fingers. Okay. Well, I'm not sure what phone you have, so I'd have to, like, if you wanted to send in more information about what phone you have, I can look to see what that looks like.
Yeah.
We try to design for every type of screen if we can, but there's so many Android phones that sometimes it's a tough job. So if it's iOS, I can look at it too. But
yeah, I would say like the only thing that comes to mind for the iOS is that I showed on here is that the start button's usually right above this home button right here. So like if you're doing this, you're swiping between your apps.
I
so
see.
That might be what he's talking about.
Okay.
Yeah.
Great feedback. I will note that down and pass it on to the team because obviously you're in there every day interacting with the app, so it makes sense for it to work the best way for you.
SK is asking, is the price on canceled dollies by requester always $15? No, I think it depends on the dolly, how much the dolly was originally paid out or originally going to be paid out for. I think it's a percentage.
Cancellation is what if it's canceled by the customer.
Canceled and scheduled, I believe.
20%.
Yeah.
And then if it's canceled and in progress, it's 50% to the helper.
Okay, Robert's saying Android 9.
Android 9.
Android 9. They're also getting rid of those buttons at the bottom.
Yeah.
I think
they're
kind of moving to.
I'll pass this on to our Android developer because I think he'd be really interested in that feedback for sure. So thank you. I'm actually going to make a note of it so I don't forget. Okay.
Cool.
What else we got?
I think that's it on both of these. Did you have any others?
Let's see. Okay, there was this. So I think we answered some of it, but I'll read it out. So it says, "Hi guys, are you planning on adding more granularity to the notification settings in the Helper app? I would like to see routes added to the notification options, as well as the ability to choose one-person, single dollies, and two-person routes. Also, the fragile option doesn't really seem to come up. That one could be replaced." So great. I love all of the ideas that you've given us. Like I said earlier, we are working on improving the notification settings. So, looking for more ideas like this. I think we're going to start by just making what we have work really well. And once we have a good baseline, we can start to implement new ideas on top of that. So these are all valid and very good ideas. So thank you again. Hello, I keep getting notifications about dollies when I have selected that I'm unavailable for that day. Yeah, so similar to what I said already, the only things that can override that is if it's a fulfillment issue, like the support team need to get this job filled. It's going to send a message and come through to your phone, just because these are urgent dollies that we want to try and get fulfilled. So, but yeah, this whole idea of a pause button is coming up quite a lot. So it's something to think about. I'm not sure about this question. Can I just any hand truck? I'm not sure what that means.
I don't know what that means either.
If that was you, let us know what that means.
Just any hand truck.
Okay. Hi, I would love to advertise on my truck.
Oh, okay. Yeah, we talked about this.
We talked about this.
Yeah.
Something you would ever consider. It looks like we've got a lot of questions for the marketing team.
Yeah.
This one is probably something that you can help with. How do I set up direct deposit?
Yeah. So if you're a new helper or an older helper that previously was with us with Payable, we did switch to Stripe back in May. So if you don't have your Stripe account set up yet, best way to do that and get it set up is to just reach out to us, helpers@dolly.com. We'll send you the Stripe the unique Stripe link to set up your Stripe account, and we'll get you all set up and running with that. Yeah, I think there's a couple that just came through.
Okay, let's see. This one?
Yes.
So here's another question for you. With routes being the way jobs are now listed, I noticed that a certain amount of time is given for that specific dolly, and you mentioned it to accounting travel. I strongly believe that it's not accounting for any tolls that one is accruing. If either helper or if the hand selects no tolls to avoid these charges, it's going to take longer for us to travel from point A to point B. Is there a thought process behind reimbursing us for the tolls? I don't want to give too much away, but it's definitely something that's being worked on right now with our pricing team. So I don't know how it's going to work exactly yet, but so I can give you more information once I know more about it. But yes, it's definitely something we're bearing in mind.
Yeah. Someone's asking, my husband and I worked together, and his app gets a lot more dollies than mine. Is that because he has been working for Dolly a lot longer than me? So no. So when a dolly gets posted, it gets sent to a certain number of helpers at random. And then you might see like there's a countdown on a dolly. That means that you're seeing this dolly for 3 minutes or 3 minutes, right? The window? Yeah, 3 minutes. And then if that dolly does not get scheduled within those 3 minutes, if that means if it's a 2 helper dolly and we don't get enough requests to get those 2 helpers on that dolly, then it's going to get sent to the next group of helpers. So there may be it's kind of like a line. Say you're on the 4th group to get notified of the dolly, but the dolly gets scheduled on group 2. That means you'll never get notified of that dolly. So if it goes through those windows and you do see it, that means that multiple people have seen it and it hasn't gotten scheduled. Do you have anything more to add to that?
Yeah, a good tip for that, if that's happening, what you can utilize is the conditional request feature. So if your husband is getting the dollies and you want to both work on that together, he can send that to you via the conditional request and ask for you, and it will send you the job. So I mean, the reason we do that is just to make sure it's fair across the board, that we're sending out at random to people rather than sending like all at once and then it not being as fair for some people as others.
Yeah, because if we send it out all at once, it would send notification to hundreds of helpers. And at the same time, we'd have 10, 20, 30 requests on one job that we only need 2 helpers. So there's a bunch of people that would miss out on that job. So
we spread it out.
Yeah, spread it out. Okay, so we're good here.
Okay.
Dave is the last one we haven't gotten to. Yeah.
Thanks. Could we make it mandatory for the customers to post pictures of the dog? I would love to make everything mandatory but then we run into that same issue of like, if we do that, it makes the experience for the customer really kind of jagged. And like what we try and do is we're trying to balance like making sure people actually book as well as getting everything that we can for you. So we encourage it, but we can't force it. It's definitely not to say we can't test that because we know how important photos are to you.
Yeah.
And I know that the support team do reach out to people if it's something that we're not quite sure about, like if the item is called other or something. We would reach out, we would get more information, we'd get a picture if we can. And I know that there's things going on. We're testing some things in product right now when it comes to like actually being able to take a photo of an item and it recognizing what it is.
Yeah.
So we're testing around with ideas, but making something required is definitely something that we need to thoroughly test, because we don't want it to affect people not actually booking. The same goes with like stairs and things like that. Those are things that, you know, we'd love to make mandatory, but might make the experience really difficult for a customer.
Yeah, and speaking about photos, some of our customers, they're booking through either support or on the website, so they may not have access to a smartphone camera or a digital camera to upload photos.
Or a phone sale. Like if it's something coming in from one of our, and they've called in, they might not have the photo to send us.
Exactly.
Yeah. What else we got next?
Robert.
So routes really do contradict the original concept of Dolly. I really wish they would just go away. Oh, I'm sorry, Robert. There's always that one dolly you don't want to do, and if you relist that one, you lose all.
Yeah. Well, I'll say for routes is that we've heard really great feedback from customers and from other helpers, because it gives them a chance to get more work done. It creates a better flow to their day, so they're not looking for work. And then for customers, you know, it allows the helper to be on time, or you know, just be available to provide a great experience for the customers, and a great experience for the helpers. You know, Robert, you don't have to take those routes if you don't want to. There's still single dollies coming through every day.
Yeah. And we do take the relisting of routes quite seriously, because you're not just relisting one, you're relisting multiple. So it's a really bad experience, not just for one customer, but for like more than one. So that's why we really like take that seriously. So what's the next one? Andrew. So nerd question. Any word on the unexpected end of stream error on the app, or the SSL connection reset errors? It requires stopping and opening the app again. Not broken, just annoying.
I haven't seen that.
That's a good question I can pass on to the app developers, because yeah, I haven't seen that either. Andrew, can you send us a screenshot of that so that we can pass that along? Because I've seen this SSL connection reset. I've seen that before, but I can't remember where. So yeah, send that in. I'm not a nerd, so I can't help but answer that.
Yeah.
But I know plenty of nerds that can.
Hey, Andrew, you could just send that to support@dolly.com.
Yeah.
Or you could text it to this phone number as well. Joel's saying, yes, it would be helpful if routes could be broken apart to fit them into our pre-scheduled dollies for a day. Yeah, that's tough, because sometimes there are helpers that want to take that route. So if we broke it up, you know, they would miss out on it.
It's also hard, like operationally, because we're doing a lot of things behind the scenes to actually build the routes, which is quite technical. And so to break them apart again, it could be quite difficult then to put them back into some kind of formation. That it will just be going back to the old way of doing it. Yeah. But still, good feedback. Yeah.
Dave's saying contact info for the marketing team. Hey, Dave, just marketing@dolly.com.
Yeah.
That'll go straight to the marketing team. Robert, I did better when I was able to hand pick my jobs previously. Now instead, routes just get crammed down our throats. Yeah.
I would say, you know, we'll definitely take this to the team that works with routes.
Yeah.
There's good feedback from people to see what we can do with that. But like, I want to like echo what Adrian was saying about routes really being helpful for customers, for certain helpers that really like the feedback that we got is that they really find them useful for them.
Yeah.
So, but that's not to say your feedback isn't valid, and
Yeah.
we'll take that on board. So thank you, Robert.
I'll be more than happy to send you my total bill. Previously needed to see.
What's that?
I don't know what this is.
Oh, for tolls.
Oh, tolls. Okay.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be great. Because we do want to see that feedback, or not that feedback, but that data related to tolls. You could just email it to helpers@dolly.com. Oh,
Okay.
thanks, Andrew. Just got your message.
All right, are there any more here? Just a huge delay on our end of receiving these chat lines. What do they mean by that? Is that on YouTube?
I don't know. Okay, Robert. Hey, K. Robert, can you expand more on your message? Sorry. Joel's saying if I have, for example, $3 for the day and a $2 route would fit in between the ones I have, the $2 routes are not able to get when it's the slow season. For example, $3 for the day and a $2 route would fit in between the ones I have, $2 route dollars.
Oh, so fitting routes into routes? Is that what you're saying?
Or fitting routes into existing like helper schedules.
Okay. Does it not allow for that right now?
Well, I think like, so say he has like he has $2 that end at 12 p.m., but then he has another dolly at 2 p.m. He wants to get a dolly in between that 12 and 2, but there's a dolly that might be interesting to him, but it's in a route.
This kind of goes back to the kind of scheduling feedback we had earlier, right at the beginning. There's a way of like fitting this all in together.
Right. Yeah.
I like all this feedback, by the way. I think it's really good. So, yeah, we will pass this on to our route team.
It's like hanging a carrot in front of a hungry rabbit. If a route is not taken, is it then broken apart? Yeah. Yeah. So it is. Yeah. So, yeah, if a route's doesn't get scheduled, or if there's dollies that don't fit into the route, they get broken apart or they get released as single dollies. Someone's saying it would be very helpful if there was a direct line for helpers.
The helper team?
Yeah, I don't know if are you talking about to the helper team or to kind of our support team? Let me know.
Because there's one for both, right?
Well, so the helper team, we don't have a direct line. Okay. There's only 2 of us on the helper team, as opposed to like 10 or 12 on the support team, and the helper team is only here 5 days a week. K. Robert saying when you input a chat line message to you, it takes a couple minutes before it gets. Oh, Robert, are you talking about on the YouTube stream? Yeah, there is a delay.
There's a
delay.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there's not much we can do about that. Are there any other questions that came in through email?
Yeah, so
we can get to?
Is there a setting on my phone to make my app work when not on Wi-Fi? I couldn't communicate with the customer before the job, and also would not go to my request. I'm guessing that's the requests in the Dolly app helper app.
Yeah, I guess so.
I don't think there's an offline feature on the app right now, but if you do have like 3G signal, you can connect up. But yeah, you do need access to be able to use the app. You need access to some kind of Wi-Fi or like internet.
Mobile data.
Yeah.
Oh, I could take this one.
Okay.
Well, when I try to open the iPhone Dolly app, it says untrusted enterprise developer. So yeah, this is a kind of a workaround that we have to go through for the iPhone apps. It's not available through the App Store. If you're a new helper or you just got a new iPhone, as you know, the new iPhone just came out. So I understand people may be running into this issue. You have to kind of go through your phone settings to allow permissions to that Dolly, to the Dolly app. I could bring it up real quick. It's in your settings app, and then general, and there's a device management button or screen. It'll look something like this. Dolly will show up, and you have to trust the app. So I've already trusted it. It would pop up right here saying Trust Dolly LLC. You do that, and then you have access to the Dolly Helper app. And it should work as intended once you get logged in. Someone's asking, how do I close my account? If you're no longer interested in being a Dolly Helper or Hands, there's a very long process. No, there's not a very long process. You just have to email us, helpers@dolly.com, and let us know that you're not interested, and we can close your account. We'd be very sad to see you go, though.
Yeah. And you don't have to as well, unless you want to close it. I mean, you don't have to take dollies. But you can keep it open, and then when you want to take dollies again, you can take dollies again. So it's up to you either way.
Yeah. This person's replying back from earlier. Direct line meaning not the same number as customers call. So I think in the Helper app, when you're scheduled to a Dolly or there's a Dolly that you're interested in, I think there's a button that you can call support, contact support, and then there's a call button. That's a different phone number that goes to our support team, and it's kind of like a tier 2 number that comes into support, and it lets them know that a helper is calling them. And so on the support end, it'll look different. It'll look different than a normal phone call, as opposed to the support number, which I think is like 312-625-5355. I think the tier 2 number is a different number that's available when you make a call through the Helper app, if I'm not mistaken.
You're right.
Joel's saying, on some days we end up with a half van full of cardboard and plastic from customers. Would Dolly help with a monthly dump fee? Many customers get angry if we don't take away the garbage. Well, I want to say thank you for taking away the garbage in the first part, because that's not something that we really asked from you, but it's kind of going above and beyond. So that's really awesome to see that you're doing that. I don't know. I haven't heard much feedback from helpers about this, but if it happens more often than not, let us know, and we'll look into if there's something that we could do.
Yeah. Does this happen mostly on like retail, like store jobs, Joel? Because if it does, then that could be something that we could bear in mind when we're looking at the retail haul away process.
Yeah.
So we can definitely take that on board for when we start working on that. But yeah, in general, like, thanks again for doing that.
Yeah. All right, we're coming up on, we have about 2 minutes remaining. So if there's any other questions you have for us or Claire specifically, let us know. There's his number here, or you can write in the chat. Again, if there's any other things that you may not want to ask, you can always email us, helpers@dolly.com. I'll put it in the chat. We can share with the rest of the team and help you out. Yeah.
It's nice to hear from some of the helpers in my support days, Joel and Robert. Yeah.
Otherwise, we'll wrap it up, and we'll see you next week. Yeah, it looks like everyone's leaving, so someone's coming back.
Yeah.
Oh, that's not. All right.
All right.
I think we're going to wrap it up a little bit early. Once again, I want to thank everyone for joining. If you're watching this live, or if you're watching this recorded, thanks for watching it all the way through. Hopefully we see you in on the next one. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out via email, helpers@dolly.com. If you have any questions about a dolly that you're scheduled to or your dolly that you're on, it's always best to reach out to the support team. They're here 7 days a week and they can help you out. And
if you have any feedback, I think there's an email that you can send that to. It's givemefeedback@dolly.com. I've loved all the feedback today, so we all get a chance to see that if you send it into that email address. So please do.
All right, everyone. Thanks for joining.
Bye.